One of the biggest battles in One Piece, if not the biggest, did happen in an island called God Valley. This is the first time we heard about this island. The first thing that came to my mind when I read the name of the island was, this is quite a pretentious name. Who are those pretentious pricks that named this island like that? And while I was thinking, only one group of people did fit the description. The Tenrybitos. Oda did not give us that much information about what did happen there and why, and I think that's due to him being a big fan of theories. There will not be theories if everything is explained. So, thanks for that, Odachi. Oda gave us only a couple of pieces of information on what did happen, and those are, Garp and Roger did form a temporary alliance, the place of the battle was God Valley, they fought and won against the Rocks pirates, and that was the end of their pirate crew. The Tenrybitos were involved. And now, here's my analysis/theory of what did happen. We know that the Tenrybitos reside in Merejoas, but based on the pretentious name of the island and Sengoku saying that Garp does not mention this battle because he had to protect the Tenrybitos and their slaves, I don't think one or some of them were traveling somewhere and they did stop at this island. I think this is their place, just like Merejoas. But this is like a second home for them. Maybe this is where they spend their summer vacation. And one of the reasons why I think God Valley is their second home is the slaves. We know that they make people their slaves by force or bind them and bring them to Merejoas and do whatever they want to them. But since there were slaves in God Valley as well, I think this is a sign that the Tenrybitos were living there as well. Because they are the only ones who are allowed to have slaves. Garp did not want to accept the rank of an admiral because then he will have to go to Merejoas or other places to protect them. Since he does not think it's right for the Tenrybitos to have slaves, he doesn't want to be in those places where he can see the slaves suffer. Sengoku said Garp had to protect the Tenrybitos and their slaves. Based on that sentence, it seems like the Rocks pirates were after their slaves. And that does not make sense. If the Rocks pirates wanted to have slaves, they can have as many slaves as they want. But I think Oda was being vague on purpose, and it will be revealed later on, and that's why that sentence did not make sense the way it is now, because it is not the full sentence. The other interpretation is that the Rocks pirates did want to free the slaves, and Garp did stop them from doing that. But everything that we know about them tells us that there is no way they were doing that. Look at this panel where people are fleeing in fear when they saw their ship. They had no problem killing each other even though they were in the same crew. And seeing Big Mom and Kaido's actions, it's clear to see they don't care about human life. The only exception is Whitebeard. And also, if that was the case, then why would Roger join the Marines to protect the slaves? Garp had to, it was his job, but what about Roger? So that could not be the case. Now, why did the Rocks pirates attack the God Valley? One thing is for sure, it is not about the slaves. Was it that the Rocks were going after the Tenrybitos? I don't think that either. If Rocks did want to attack the Tenrybitos, he would have gone to Merejoas. I think the answer is what Sengoku said about Rocks. He was after the true history, and I think just like Merejoas that has many secrets of the past, God Valley is the same. And that's why I think the world government did wipe out of the maps just like they did with Ohara. But they did not have to destroy God Valley, since it was already destroyed by the battle that took place there. In this battle did participate some of the strongest people in the One Piece world, so I am surprised that the island was not totally destroyed and sunk into the sea. The moment that the world government did realize that Ohara has obtained knowledge about the Void Century, they did destroy the island in order for the information not to get out. And since somehow Rocks did figure out the importance of God Valley, they did act in the same way they did with Ohara. Even though Rocks was defeated, but just like he did find out about the importance of the island, someone else can as well. And that would be too risky, and that's why they took precautions. When the Marines did ask Sengoku more about God Valley, he said to them, "Do you really want to know more about an island that the world government did wiped out of the maps?" So, the reason why I think Rocks did attack this island was due to the information that was there, and those Tenrybitos there were in his way and nothing more. He had no use for them. And that's why Roger did join this battle, because he was interested too in the true history. Maybe one of the missing road poneglyph is in God Valley. Both Big Mom and Kaido are after the poneglyphs. I think that is due to what they did learn from Rocks of their importance. So basically what I think did happen was Rocks saying, "I am about to end their summer vacation and get the information that is in God Valley," while Garp and Roger were saying, "I am about to end this man's whole career." Unfortunately for Rocks, they were not kidding around, and his career was over. But one thing is certain, he did not die in that battle. Otherwise the Marines would announce his death worldwide, because this was a big victory for them. In Marineford they did want to put the hats of Whitebeard and Ace on spikes to celebrate their victory. But then Shanks said, "I would like to see you try." Sengoku said the rocks may not be amongst us. I think here he is referring to him being old. If he is alive, he is probably 70 or 80 years old, and also the fact that he has not been active. Maybe he is depressed, or he is waiting for Garp to die. Oda did talk about a certain lurking legend, and it is very likely that the rocks could be the lurking legend. We could see him in Wano, or more likely in Shanks or Blackbeard's arc. Do you know what is interesting about this battle? Is that the D's fought each other. I guess the saying "fight fire with fire" in the One Piece world is different. It's fight a D with another D. The Gorous has said that the D's always bring the storm, and it seems that the only solution to this problem is another storm caused by a D. No wonder that the world government is afraid of the D's. Now that we have established theoretically why the battle took place, let's talk about the battle itself. Sengoku said Garp and Roger fought the Rocks Pirates, and on that panel is shown Roger and Garp versus Rocks, Big Mom, Kaido, Whitebeard, and Shiki. Now it's worth pointing out that the information we are getting is based on Sengoku's point of view and knowledge of this battle. He did not say that he was there, so he's talking about what he has heard or read. It could be that things went down differently. I don't think the end result, but the small things that led to that result of the battle. Writers like to do that often, where characters have different knowledge of the same event, and that's how they make the story even more intriguing. Let's start with the obvious one. How come that Roger was alone? I don't think he was alone. I think his crew was with him. The first person that Roger did recruit was Rayleigh. So if his crew was with him, then Rayleigh was there for sure. So if Rayleigh was there, then he can hold its own against any of the Rocks Pirates. He's not called the Dark King for nothing. We don't know much about Scupper Gaban, but it seems like the monster trio on the Roger Pirates was Roger, Rayleigh, and Gaban. So I expect him to be strong as well. Buggy at that time was not part of the crew, otherwise the battle would have ended before it even started. Do you know what would be cool? If Oden was part of the crew, and that's where he did wound Kaido. But at that time Roger and Oden have not met yet. Roger met Oden when he was part of Whitebeard's crew. So it is very likely that Roger had his crew with him to fight the crew that was known as the strongest crew at that time. But on the side of the Marines, it is very likely that Garp was not the only monster there. Now, since Garp was a Vice Admiral, in his crew there is an Admiral or someone at that level. Unless there is a Marine that thinks the same as Garp, and he did refuse a higher rank and did stay in Garp's crew. One Marine who could have been fighting in that battle, I think, is Kong. Now he is the commander of the army of the world government. He seems the type of guy that loves this kind of battle. And looking at things from this point of view, both sides look more equally matched. Now, there is no doubt that Roger and Garp are monstrous. They are at the top of power levels. But if just the two of them did defeat the top guys of the Rocks Pirates, then this brings up the question, was this really the strongest crew in the world? The goal of Rocks was to be the king of the world, so how did he lose to only Roger and Garp? In his crew he had the strongest man and the strongest creature in the world, and also Big Mom, who did destroy the strongest kingdom in the world because she was hungry when she was a child. And the fact that all those monsters did accept him as the captain, he has to be stronger than them. Otherwise, how did he become the captain? Sengoku did mention money, but money was what brought them together, but they still had to choose who will be the captain. I don't see a way that they chose a captain that is not stronger than the others in the crew. Sengoku did not mention who did defeat Rocks. Was it Garp or Roger? I think that is because the fights were not one-on-one. Considering who we are talking about, I am surprised that all these monsters fought on the same island. Maybe the God Valley Island is quite big. When Akainu and Aokichi fought, the whole island was turned into a battle zone. Now the monsters that took part in this battle were stronger than the admirals, and that's why the end of the Rocks came from Garp and Roger and not the admirals of that time. So I think it was a chaos. Everyone fought with everyone, since those guys have all monstrous strength. My next video will be about a certain topic that Oda gave us a very interesting hint in this chapter. That video will be posted soon. Thanks for watching.